Welcome back, guys, and to start off, let's just say, wow, I wish I could have 6 midfielders for this upcoming week, because I want to bring in Sterling, but I don't really want to get rid of any of my midfielders. I don't think it's worth it, because they all have a good chance of returning points. I'd love to be able to get rid of Calvert-Lewin, or Wan-Bissaka, or Saiss, or Doherty, and bring in Sterling. But before we get into that, let's look at gameweek 37 plus. So there's no question about it, I should not have gotten rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold. I should have gotten rid of Van Dijk. Anyway, I got 57 points, and it wasn't the best week. I got a red arrow, and I am now ranked 28k, but still not the worst. Let's see if I can make this any better going into the final week. So my team this week looks like this, and I have Calvert-Lewin and I have Wan-Bissaka currently in the starting lineup, which is sort of an issue. The good thing about Calvert-Lewin is he plays Bournemouth at home, and he's a good differential, which is something that I would like at this point of the season with one game week to go. It would be nice. But I do think he has a decent chance to score points because it is Bournemouth at home. The pressure's off in terms of, at this point, pressure's off everybody for the most part. There's nothing to play for besides like the teams that are fighting for the Champions League spots. Maybe him being at home and having no pressure will just help. I don't know. He really hasn't had any pressure on him anyway, besides the fact that he can't score recently. So it's either getting rid of him or getting rid of Doherty and then playing a defender. Now, who are my options in these positions? Because again, I'm looking at, can I get a defender that outscores Wan-Bissaka or a striker that outscores Calvert-Lewin more than Sterling outscores, let's say, Fernandez, who I would probably get rid of. I think Fernandez is a slightly worse option in Pulisic this week. But with that said, I both think they're great options. So let's look at the defender options because, again, a lot of people at this time may be looking for a differential. I think a good transfer in could be Luca Digne. Everton haven't looked amazing, but Digne always poses some sort of attacking threat. The only question is, are Everton going to score, and how bad are Bournemouth defensively? Because they've only conceded 2 goals in each of the last 2 games. One of those was against Man City, so that's pretty respectable. There are other defensive options out there. I personally have decided to stay away from Man City defenders because they may get subbed off at halftime. They may come on at halftime. You don't know if they're going to start or not. I don't think it's worth it, but who knows? Maybe if we get some team news or something like that, it could be worth a Man City defender. But if they play 60 minutes, you would think they would get the clean sheet, but I just don't trust them in terms of playing time. They also don't have the greatest attacking threat. I would say Laporte has the most, but it's not like they have a wingback that gets a lot of assists or anything like that. Nobody with the same amount of threat as Luca Digne. And for me, the other 2 defensive options would be a third Burnley defender. I have Pope and Tarkowski already, or Serge Aurier, or a Spurs defender who I think has the most attacking threat, whoever you may think that would be. I think for me, that's Serge Aurier, but I think that Crystal Palace haven't been attacking too well, and Spurs with Mourinho obviously are pretty focused on the defensive side of things, so I think those could be great options. Burnley is Brighton. Now, I have been impressed by Brighton attacking recently, but after last game, I am a little bit more confident in a Burnley clean sheet. So basically, there's no real standout option here. Are there some decent options? Yes, but is it really worth avoiding Sterling to get one of these players in? I'm really not sure. If we take a look at the midfielders, I've been mentioning Sterling like he's just like this obvious option, but are there other options out there? I mean, Salah is an option. Liverpool just scored a lot and they've already won the league. Personally, don't think that Salah's been as sharp as he has been previously, which is why I'm not too keen on getting him in. Both him and Sterling have some rotation risk, but Sterling's just been so much better in a team that you know is going to score a lot of goals right now. If Liverpool rotate a lot, even if Salah does play, let's say like Origi is at striker instead of Firmino, that really harms Salah's chances of scoring, in my opinion. Another option could be Michail Antonio. Obviously, he's been great recently, and he plays Aston Villa at home. Surely that's not bad. We'll say that rumor has it the reason why he took that penalty last game was because of some sort of contract bonus that he would reach with that amount of goals. So I don't expect him to be on penalties for this next game. That role should remain Mark Noble's. I think Richarlison's a solid differential. I mean, all these players are good options, but I just don't trust Everton as much attacking-wise as I do them defensively. I don't really trust them at all right now. I mean, come on. Richarlison's playing next to Dominic Calvert-Lewin right now. What more can you expect from him than what he's doing? So maybe if Calvert-Lewin does do better, Richarlison could have one of his big games that he's shown that he can have in the past. In terms of forwards, besides Ings, you have Jesus, Kane, and Aubameyang that could all play major roles in this final week. There are a lot of goals this final week a lot of times, and you would assume that these 3 players would get a lot of shots and a lot of chances in these games. The main question with Jesus is, will he play? That's probably the main upside of Harry Kane. The downside of Aubameyang and Kane is that they play Aston Villa and Watford, which are both battling relegation right now, and they really have something to play for. So if you're looking for a more desperate differential, I would go for Kane. But I think the best striker option this week and the player that I will likely bring in is Gabriel Jesus. It's Man City versus Norwich. What more do I have to say? That makes it simple enough. He is sort of a differential, but he had 3 shots last game. He had 1 key pass. I don't want to play out wide against Norwich. I think that Mahrez won't be involved too much. He doesn't tend to get in the box too much on crosses anyway. I personally haven't liked the look of him. I don't think he's a captain option. For me, I think Jesus is much better. Obviously, he's a striker of the team. As much as you may want to go for some really cool, desperate differential, I think that it's even more important to have 3 Man City players for this game. You would think that it's very possible for a 5-0 here, and that's something that you want to be a part of right now. These game weeks haven't been as back-to-back as the previous ones. Even though Jesus did play 90 minutes in the previous game, I think that he will most likely start this game again, being their only true striker left. I guess the only downside of getting rid of Dominic Calvert-Lewin is they play Bournemouth, and if Everton get a lead early, Bournemouth could really be chasing the lead heavily, where they'd be attacking a lot, and they'd probably concede more goals then, and then after that they may just give up because they realize that relegation is upon them. So I guess in that way, Calvert-Lewin does have a high upside, so maybe I have more considering to do, but I think Jesus is a great option. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll try not to make a desperation -4. I would advise you to do the same thing. -4s for 1 week generally don't work out, but I'm not saying they can never work out. As far as captaincy goes, I'll probably just captain a Man City player. If I bring in Jesus, it'll be him. I'm going to try to wait for some team news, and hopefully we get some idea of who's going to start, because, maybe like there's going to be people taking a break and they just play a completely weak squad and play none of their regular starters. Make sure nothing like that's happening. If it's not a Man City player, I may just go for Martial Fernandez, to be honest with you. Leicester haven't looked amazing, and they're a solid option. I think a lot of people own them, but they might not really look to them as captaincy options in terms of the top 10K. Which is what I'm shooting for, but I'm not going to get at this point. Anyway, hopefully you agree that some of these are good options. There's some defenders, midfielders, and attackers that I think are all great options this week. Take your pick, be as differential as you want to be, have fun. It's been a great season. Thanks for joining me along the way. I will see you next time, whenever that may be. I guess I can do like a season review, something like that. Anyway, bye.